Okay, so this is a video that I've been kind of having fun with. As you recall, in my last video on CG, I talked about redoing my hard assets video because it's not quite ready for prime time. And the pot, it's sort of like a pot of gold and silver and flying all over the place and so on. And the pot was kind of boring. Basically, I use as a model one of the early lessons in MoGraph.com's course, Don't Be Afraid of Houdini, something like that. The very extensive class. And one of the early lessons is making a coffee cup. Now, very simple. I just made it real simple. I did a little L shape with the curve, and then I did a revolve, and a revolve basically goes around and takes your shape and goes like in a circle. And I didn't put any handles on it. So I wanted something more like a pot of gold. So here's some inspiration. Right here, you can see all these, and I kind of looked at it after I made my first attempt. So let me show you you can see most of them are either black or green, and you can see that, and black is more kettle, green is more St. Patrick's Day, and of course this, little four-leaf clover and leprechaun for St. Patrick's Day. Of course, my thought was more, this is how you protect what you've earned. But anyway, so let me show you my first attempt. And this is where I tried to do two handles just jutting out from the side, and this was particularly challenging because you have to get the handles just right. Now, in the example that they have in the class, it's just a simple coffee cup, which means there's one handle. And it's kind of hard to get that wrong. But as you can see, it's a little lopsided. I will say, though, I've been playing with it a little, and what I did is I went from a curve that was basically flipped over the original curve to making a new curve, and there's still some issues with normals here, and they're not even because this one goes in, this one goes out. But, this is my first attempt. So even though it's not perfect, and like I said, this is a bit more complex than their example for two reasons. First reason it's more complicated is the shape itself is curved. And the second reason it's more complicated is I'm putting two handles on each side on a surface that curves kind of in two ways. One, it's curving on the side, and it's curving around. So, anyway, let's see if I can show you. That's going to resize. So, right, there are basically, you have the two curves. You can see I've been playing with it. Let's move this one down a bit. Which are the handles, and in the middle, if you look here. This is going to be confusing. Let me turn this off. And this is the curve for the pot, and you can see the resampling. Basically, what it does is it makes things a bit more even. And then there's subdivide, which gives you more points, so things are more curvy. And if you've used cinema, you know about subdivide, which I had an interesting experience with that when I was taking the class on cinema. We were tasked to do a gaming console, and I couldn't figure out. I put it in subdivide and think, look, it starts looking like a blob. When you're subdividing in cinema, you need to make sure you have enough cuts already there, or you're going to get a blob. Then this revolve gives you your pot shape, and this gives you your extrude, and let's see, you see, extrudes it, but you notice it's purple. That means your normals, essentially the way light hits it, is going the wrong way, and when you do that, when you do reverse, it flips them. Let me see if I can show you that. What is this one? This one, yeah. You see here, let's see, revolve, and you see poly extrude, and look, when you go down here, you see they're all going crazy, not the right way. And when you put the reverse in, let me show you this. You can see they're all kind of going inside. When you put this, now everything's going the right way again. So that is your normals. Then you have the two branches. This branch here, and you have the equivalent one here, is for the handle. And the handle, of course, you have your curve. Let me show you that. And now this is important. What drives me crazy with the curves is what you want to do, if you need to move it, go back to the curve and click here, and you can edit the curve. And you can, very flexible. You have to hit this little gadget here, and you can edit your curve. You can, and you see it has instructions here. So if you do a shift, you can put a point, add points, you can delete points, whatever you need to do. And then from here we go, and again we do the resample to kind of make, what is this? Oh, I'm still in there. Kind of make it even, or even as it can be. And then you have subdivide, again, additional points. And then it splits off. This side here is going to make the holes for the handle. This side here is going to create the handle. So you're doing a sweep, and it's just like doing a sweep in cinema. You have your circle, your little circle here, and then you have your sweep. It sweeps the circle around, and you have a handle. You group it. Now this group here, this is a, look, we don't want to do that. This group here is basically you're trying to get these edges right here so that it can bridge that with the holes that you're going to create in the pot. Like I said, it didn't work perfectly for me, but it is what it is. Obviously it's not where it needs to be, but you can still learn a lot. I learned a lot, even though I don't quite have perfection yet. And then, so you have that group, and that group, and you have a similar thing on this side, is going to merge into this. Well, now let's look at this path where it splits off. What you're doing is you're doing a group merge, which you're creating the a group. Well, let's see, something doesn't. Yeah, this group merge, what it's going to do is, you're taking, oh no, this is group range, sorry. Group range is kind of interesting. What it does is, what we're doing here is, by starting at 1 and ending at 0, we're grabbing 1 point, and then we do down here the opposite. And so we grab both points. Now you're not going to see them both, but you do grab both, and I'll show that. Then you take those points and you say, transfer those to our pot. And then you combine, let's see, so you're putting 1 point on each side of the pot to make where the handle attaches. And then what you're going to do is you're going to create a group hole, which is going to have the 2 holes made from the 2 points. So each point is going to grab a number of areas around it to make the holes. And you're not going to see them yet. Then here, this is our group promote. You're going to change it from a point group to a primitive group. So from little points to actual primitives. And then to make it more, let's see if I can show you this, what we see. You can see, and you can see it's not quite even, but you can see the little areas it pulled out. Now this tells me that I can probably make this better by increasing the number of points I have. Because when it grabbed this point, it grabbed all these around it, and it probably grab something, and again, we got 6. It probably should be 4 smaller ones, but that's refinement and getting the thing to actually work. Then what you're going to do is a circle. Now what this does, this circle here, is it kind of makes it more of takes the edges and make them more circular, so you have circles and not box holes. And what this does is this transform is it kind of adjusts the size. And then this is where you do a blast, and you can see it makes the 2 holes. Again, I think they're way too big, and that's probably a big part of why it looks funny. And then once you have the holes, you create a group of those edges. That's going to be your destination. So you have your source, which is the handle, your destination. This is what I learned in that lesson. Now, of course, I'm doing it on a different type of surface. I'm doing it one on each side, and then once I have that, you can merge all this, and when you do, you get, obviously things aren't attached yet. That's where this is the first bridge. So here it's attaching the first handle to the pot, and this is attaching second handle to the pot, and that's how you get your pot. Again, it's an imperfect pot for now, like I said, I have been doing some more I have been doing some more. Let me save this. You always want to save, and here you can always click on auto save, which can be a lifesaver. Of course, you're going to put a lot of take up a lot of disk space. Believe me, Dropbox and Microsoft love me because I need their disk space for everything I do. So this was my second attempt so far. I didn't put any handles on, but you can see it's not quite what I want yet. Now this is a front view. And, oh, that's one other tip. When you're putting the handles on, the best way, I think, to get them sort of even is draw them from, if you're doing them the way I had them where they're sticking out, draw them from the top perspective. And then what you're going to do, they're going to probably be on the bottom. And then you can do the front viewport, and then you can adjust them to the correct height. And that's basically how it's easier to do if you're doing handles the way I did on the previous example. And you can see, basically I have the pot right now. I don't love the shape yet. Well, let's do side. That's another thing when you're doing the original. No, that's not working. That's back. Right viewport. So you do it by the side and then you know. So what I probably want to do is go in here and make this more pot shaped. So I'm going to grab this tool, and what I think I want to do is grab these. I'll grab all of these and kind of bring them down a little bit. I think let's get out of this. Look, that's not what I want. Oh well. Hit that and then go to the bottom here, and you can see it's a bit more pot shaped than it had been. And if we look at it in the perspective view, and you can see, so this has not been poly beveled yet, but you can see this is kind of more the shape we're looking for. Probably even if you look at these, even wider, and perhaps a little less of a, so it's a little curve at the top, but probably a little less of a curve than what we got here. And anyway, so hopefully this has been helpful to you, and you can see how I'm thinking about making the pot. Now let me bring these back here and show you. I'm thinking there may be a better way to do the handle. One way is to have them up like this. Another simple way, which is, if you have a teapot, typically how it's done, you put a little, the handle would go more like this. So, and this one's kind of interesting over here in that it uses similar handles than what I came up with, but they're they point up, which makes sense. You notice all the handles like that, mine were kind of straight out. You probably want them pointed up if you're going to do it that way. But anyway, hopefully this has been helpful and you can get an idea and some of the complications. I think in my original example, I probably did not have enough points. And so we got this big hunkin' thing. You need, and it was choosing, this wide area because there wasn't enough points to just grab a little area. So that's one way of fixing that. And again, take advantage of your perspectives so that you can, see everything, get everything even up. And there we go. That will get rid of that, I think. Yeah. You'll see everything nice and even. And having this tablet really helps with this kind of work. It's very helpful because you can, draw as opposed to, mouses are not quite as exact. I mean, the mouse I have isn't terrible because it's a gaming mouse. Probably the issue I have with this one is that the default speed is so fast for gamers that it's very difficult to control in a program like this. So I am really loving this. This is a Wacom, again, like I had mentioned in a previous video. There are brands that are more budget friendly and that should do you just fine. Like I said, I had the what was that? I had one of the X Pen, and there's nothing wrong with it. It just what it was. The actual it did not match my use case because of the monitors I have. So that's something, again, like I had said before, it's to be aware of. This is, if you're using high-res monitors, this is a non-graphic tablet is probably the way to go. And if someone's an artist who wants to actually, have this big screen that they can look at and do everything there, depending on your budget, you can, the Cintiq is obviously designed for that. Even one of the bigger iPads, there are apps like Procreate that you can, do some fairly sophisticated things with. And they have a very special pen that people seem to really like that. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I will speak to you next time. Take care.